Oftentimes that is about measuring outcomes, the technical implementation and rigor and counterfactual attribution of impact to programs, whether children learn more due to educational programs. But somewhere embedded in the research community also has been a history, right, of not paying adequate attention to the dignity of the humans that our programs are trying to serve. And research and distilling people into numbers is not always holistically representative of what we care about as a sector. As a technical community, we need to do better, and we need to put our values into action.
How long will we sell poverty to remove poverty? Why do we need a naked kid or a kid who does not have clothes to sell the concept? And without dignity, how do you talk about development? Everyone is talking about dignity, but how many of us are really practicing it? That's the most important subject. Because the biggest problem with the donation mindset is that we give what we have, we don't give what people need.
It's essential for us to be holding ourselves to certain indicators and standards, but those numbers have stories behind them. In global development, there's often this valuing of who is worthy of being invested in and who is not. We cannot be artificially socialized for scarcity on behalf of others. We need to be imagining the possibilities of what we would all expect for ourselves and for our family. And what I think we can all do as practitioners in this space, as relative holders of power, just being in this room, all of us, is that we can intentionally ensure that when we are at tables to develop strategies, to design programs, that those who are closest to and have the assets of their community are at that table and are designing the programs together, and that we are not artificially starting with a budget number, but we are instead imagining what's possible.
A lot of people who deny people their dignity do it not because at core they are bad people or they want to hurt. It's because that's the air they breathe, that is the water, and that is how we learn to be okay in the world. We live in worlds where to be a leader, to be a teacher, to be an authority means you have to treat people or rather mistreat people. And that's how systems make us. We should not be satisfied that we have helped make things more dignified in our project or in our community when we know that the denominator, that the scale of the need is much bigger. So even then, if you don't have medicines in the clinic, you treat people well and help explain to them why we don't have medicines and let's think together, what do we do instead that we don't have medicine? And when you affirm the dignity of people as bureaucrats, they are more likely to act in a way that will affirm the dignity of the system.
Dignity is about people being at the center of being the solution and change makers for their own lives, trusting them and knowing that if we went into their communities, we would be a part of the happiness that they're looking after. If we left those communities, they would still be in pursuit of those same happiness that we cannot deliver on a day-to-day basis.
Donors do not have the same lived experiences of organizations, of community members, of women on the ground lifting themselves and their families and their communities out of poverty. Yet donors sitting here and in other boardrooms across the world are very keen on making the decisions for those communities. And so I do feel like when we talk about dignity, we really need to challenge the funders because they are not operating in a dignified manner. They may have it in their mission statements, they may have it in their vision statements, but they're making decisions about what the community needs. We have no clue of what the community needs.